Hi there, and welcome to Limitless, the space where your big dreams meet grounded energy and mastering manifestation becomes your new normal. I'm Alyssa Simpson, mindset and manifestation coach, your unorthodox free spirit, and now your newfound permission slip to do life your way. Here, we break the rules by ditching societal norms of the hustle and grind. We embrace flow, alignment, and the bold decision to follow what lights you the fuck up. In each episode, I'll be sharing soul downloads, mindset shifts, energetic upgrades, and raw, authentic stories to help you unlock your magnetism, collapse timelines, and create a life that feels as good as it looks. So if you're ready to remember who you are, trust your desires, embody your highest self, and manifest from your authentic power, it's time to sit back, relax, and get ready to become limitless. Hello, my party people. Welcome back to another episode of Limitless. Just adjusting my mic here. It's like loose as shit. I don't know what happened. The questions that go unanswered, right? Hi, how the hell are you? We are rolling on into a new month, for a new year, for a new opportunity to draw a line in the sand for what we are and are not willing to tolerate anymore, right? If you've been here for a while, welcome back, number one. If you're new here, hey, take a seat, grab a drink, get comfy, because we've got some shit to talk about. But if you're someone who's been here for a while, you know that the vibe for me and the goal for me and the desired thing that we are doing moving forward is to become wealthy as fuck without having to overexert ourselves. And I'm going to put so much into this podcast. So truly, honestly, like, please get comfortable because we have a lot to talk about. The other day, and honestly, here's the other thing to you guys. I am very organized. That's the Virgo energy in me, but I forget what and where I've shared things. So part of what I'm doing is I'm trying to refine, if you will, what exactly I am talking about, because so often I get like on tangents and I end up treating my whenever I'm speaking literally like a radio show. And I guess that's the whole point, because I know that if you have been here for a while, you know what to expect whenever you turn an episode on, or if you watch any of my videos on YouTube, you know what kind of to expect. But it feels chaotic and like I don't know what direction I want people to live in. And because of that, I don't know where I say things, like where it goes. Like, for instance, I'm going to talk to you guys about like what I foresee the future holding for all of us as a collective. And I know where I talked about this because I literally just recorded a video for my YouTube on it within 36 hours. So like it's very fresh on my mind. But there's probably things that are very cross contaminated, if you will. And I guess that's the point, right? Like now that I'm saying it out loud, like I guess that is the point, is to you're going to get every piece of what I'm trying to say, whether you're consuming it here or on my email list or on YouTube. So if you've heard this before, you have, but you haven't heard it in this capacity because this is a little bit different. I'm tying everything in together, if you will, because I know that I've talked a lot about like what the vibe is moving forward and what we're doing as far as what we're shedding and what we're stepping into, but we really haven't talked about like what to expect. So consider this a reintroduction episode. Consider this a what you can expect in this space episode and what you can kind of brace yourself for moving forward. Now, the foundation of all of this, of everything, of who I am, what I teach, what I'm creating inside of this movement of wealthy as fuck, restful as fuck, living for a living as fuck. Threshold, if you will, that we're stepping into. The foundation of this is that biological safety does equal wealth capacity. Okay, so you're going to hear a lot of talk about how we can stay regulated in a chaotic as fuck world, how when you are resting and taking a step back and honoring your system, how that actually creates abundance for yourself. So that's like the foundation. That's like numero uno. And a lot of what I'm talking about in today's episode is exactly the framework for Restfully Rich. So before I even dive into all of this, just know that if all of this sounds like an immediate, holy shit, I feel seen, heard, and I have finally found my home, this is your number one sign that you have got to fill out an application to get in on this container, because spots are going to fill up, and when they do, no more energy is allowed inside, and it is very intentional of who is going to be allowed inside. Since this is the first time that I'm like bringing Restfully Rich to a group setting, this is the lowest price that Restfully Rich will ever be. So, as I'm speaking through all of this episode, just know that this is what you can expect on the inside of this container. Now, with that being the foundation of everything that I'm doing moving forward, understanding that biological safety does equal wealth capacity, what that means is if we are desiring to receive infinite wealth and live in overflow and truly live for a living without the stress of the bullshit, just understand that first, before you can even achieve any of that, you have got to understand, number one, how nervous system regulation is. Like, what is it? How do we do it? How can we achieve it? What does that even fucking mean? Not this like woo woo jargon, just go outside and put your bare feet on the ground, because yes, that is a nervous system regulation tool, but that is not what nervous system regulation is. And how you can understand how it applies specifically to you is understanding your hormones, your cycle, your stress physiology, your cyclical energy, like all of these things you've got to understand. And because they directly affect your money capacity, how you make decisions, how you trust yourself, your ability to receive, and having the consistency without burnout. This is why this is a foundational piece. This is a core piece of what I'm teaching inside of Restfully Rich, but also what I'm shifting into as a leader, as a movement maker, as a mentor and a guide and a confidant, if you will. Women cannot create wealth the same way that men do, yet we are trying to do it through the lens of boss babe, but it's full blown masculine energy. And this is why you see women rise to riches, become rich as fuck, but then somewhere along the way, shit gets very unbalanced where they are chronically ill, they have all of this stress, they all of a sudden have autoimmune diseases, they don't have a solid family life, a solid home life, a solid self worth. It's all tied to their work. And this is exactly why, because you're doing it through the lens of women empowerment. I can have a job and I can build an empire, but you're doing it through the masculine energy. Okay. The core of everything that I am moving forward is understanding wholeheartedly that women cannot create wealth the same way that men do, period. And if you are here for that, oh baby, take a seat and settle in further, because we are just getting fucking started. When I think of feminine energy and when I think of becoming restfully rich, there is a level of being provided for and taken care of. And maybe you're listening to this and you're like, I don't have a male figure in my life that provides me that stability. I don't have the masculine energy in my life that provides that stability, that protector, that strong house. Like, what is it? Built like a brick house energy, like whatever that saying is. Um, that's not the saying, but it is, but it's not. It's gonna come to me at the end, and I'll be very well reminded of what that saying actually is. But the idea is, you might be sitting here thinking like, well, I don't really have that. I don't really know, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's the whole co-creation part. That is your duty with divine energy, with source energy. And women are naturally more connected to the divine because we have the ability to bring literal souls into this fucking world. So we are naturally more intuitive. We are naturally more connected. We are naturally more on the whimsical side, if you will, because that is in our biology. Like, this isn't spiritual jargon. Like, this is rooted in science. This is rooted in physics. This is rooted in DNA. Like, this is a fucking fact. Okay. So understanding that is, again, numero uno. Now, a few things that we've got to understand is there's a lot of deconditioning that's going to happen when you decide to become restfully rich. When you decide that you are done playing the fucking game of society, that means doing it like men have done it, doing it through the masculine energy, doing it through the entrepreneurial boss babe energy, is you've got to decondition that hustle. Whoa, holy, what is a hustle? You've got to decondition that hustle and masculine wealth patterns. Okay. So that means that you're unlearning that productivity equals worth. You're unlearning that effort equals income. You're unlearning that pushing equals momentum. And you're learning that your discipline comes over your intuition. Whenever we decide to decondition that, it completely dissolves the urgency, the guilt, and the subconscious fear that if you slow down, everything will collapse. This is when women finally stop leaking their energy. This is when you come back home to yourself and when you can lay the actual groundwork for a living and becoming restfully fucking rich. What I will say about this, if you are listening to understand like the human design world, I am not super well versed in that or nuanced in all of that. Like I understand it and I do consume a lot of the conversations around it because I think it's super interesting. And the conversation that the people who are experts in human design, they keep saying that we are moving into a what is it? Individualism. If you're listening to this and you know exactly what I'm talking about, forgive me that again, I'm not well versed in this, so just bear with me. I'm going to try to get this out as best as I can. An individualism era, so it's like more self-autonomy, like more self-trust, more self-discipline, all of these things versus like the communal era that we've all been in for however many years and however long. And so what this means is we are going to see things start to collapse and change and become different. And sure, there are people out there preaching that this is gonna be a scary time and arm your fucking houses and get your grab bag, your oh shit bag ready because the grid's gonna fall and we're all gonna learn how to fucking eat our own shit to stay alive. Like, no, like that's not what I'm saying at all. Like this dystopian bullshit fear thing. The stuff that I'm hearing is that we can't even really comprehend what is coming, but it is being shown through the cosmos, through human design. Even if you look at like the trends over the last decade and just like generationally what is happening, a lot of things that we have done as a society, like the whole entering into the age of Aquarius and leaving the age of Pisces, like there's so many different teachings and studies done on all of this stuff that also point to a new way of doing things. And with this new shift, with this new recalibration, if you will, things are going to look so different. And again, like, please bear with me because I'm not, yes, like I can dabble into the spiritual things, but like that's not exactly how I teach. Like, I teach more of like a, not to say that spirituality is impractical, but I teach more of a practical, like lived wisdom way, not a, well, this is what the cosmos say way, you know? Even though like I dabble in all that shit, but that's not what I teach as a coach. So again, this sounds like really busted and fucked off, but I just need you to just bear with me because there's a point I'm trying to make. And the point that I'm trying to make is with all of this talk about this shift that is happening, right? For those of you also, I have a few of these books and this is it just came to mind, so I will dabble and then I might even come back and talk about what I find. But Nostradamus, y'all, I was obsessed with this when I was like 14 or 15. Like I bought like 3 or 4 different Nostradamus books and then my grandma who randomly fucking had a Nostradamus book, I took hers. I think that's the one I kept. And I just started like getting into all this shit and there's a lot of stuff in the Nostradamus teachings about like the fall of the Western world and all this stuff. And like maybe that's what's gonna happen. I don't necessarily know, but I'll go back and I will consult my boy Nodesty and I'll let you know what the fuck he says. But anyways, there's a lot of people talking about the new age of doing things, okay? And one of the theories that my boy Elon has talked about, which I think is it feels very aligned for it just feels like an instant yes in my body when I hear him talk about this, but um that's why I'm gonna talk about it, not because I have a crystal ball and I know exactly, but it does make a lot of fucking sense. But with the rise of AI and robots, like yes, jobs are going to be replaced, but they're going to be replaced in a way of like we aren't gonna have to trade our time for money anymore because we're gonna have robots and steel bodies that have like very knowledgeable computer chips in them, they're going to be doing all the things like that for humans. So humans can get back to like creating and living and experiencing. And with that, the theory that is floating around and that even Elon has talked about is like universal income. So you will be able to have whatever desired dollar amount you want to get to live on, right? So like people won't need to be tripping about their debt or savings or fucking stocks and bonds and 401ks and all this stuff because you're going to get to tap into infinite wealth. And I've been talking about that for the fucking past 10 years, dude, especially the past 7 years that I've been coaching and talking about wealth and money mindset and all this stuff is like when you tap into the dollar amount that you desire and you align with who you need to be in order to have it, it will happen for you. So if we're talking through the lens of like, if this is a possibility, right? If tomorrow we wake up and it's like, hey, you get this little fucking button that you press, it's like a morphine drip, but it's a money drip, and you just keep pressing it and pressing it and pressing it until you get all the money you ever desire. What would fucking change in your life? What would change in your life? And there's going to be people because they are so tied to their identity of how much money they have that they are going to lose their actual fucking minds. They're going to feel like their whole world collapsed because like they haven't separated themselves in the same breath they haven't connected themselves. So they're going to be the ones that are going to lose their shit, right? Um but the reason I asked this question is because this is exactly how you start becoming wealthy and rich as fuck, because you ask yourself, what would change if I had it all? And then you actually change what you say you would change. You become the version of you who would change if you had all the money in the world that you desire, right? And you don't wait for the money to arrive, you do it beforehand, and then the money comes. And that is manifestation 101. So with all that being said, if that is what actually happens, right? But my whole thing is like we don't fucking know. We don't know. We don't know what the future is going to hold. We don't know what's going to change, what's going to shake up, what's going to be our new reality. And that's kind of the beauty of it. And the beauty of it is like instead of thinking worst case scenario, which I would be lying if I said I didn't tend to do that, especially when it came to like tinfoily hat conversations. But I also am aware of that about myself. So like I play in that realm just for funsies. And then I come back to like, okay, what's best case scenario? And best case scenario is that we get to live for a living, right? If the whole like universal income thing becomes a true and tried thing, how fucking sick is that to not have to trip about money when your whole life you've probably been saying like I can't wait to not have to worry about money and finances and income and work and stability and blah 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 because at the end of the day, you are the stability. I need to take a breath because I just realized I'm probably fucking if you're listening to this sped up, you probably have already slowed it back down because yo girl is getting on one. And when I get on one, my mouth runs so fast. Fun fact, when Josh and I first started dating, he was like, I thought that you were addicted to methamphetamine because you talk so fast that only people who are on opiates and uppers talk like that. Not on drugs. The power of Christ is in me. And that is what keeps this mouth running, baby. But whenever I start tripping over my words, that's when I'm like, ooh, girl, you gotta slow down. You're getting a little crazy. As you can tell, I can talk about this so passionately and so for fun. And it's exciting to me. It really is. It doesn't freak me out. It doesn't scare me. It lights me up because I'm like, oh, fucking finally. Like, oh, fucking finally. Like, this is what the conversation that I've been having, not necessarily like robots are going to let us have universal income, but I have always felt literally in my soul that like one day in my lifetime, I'm going to get to see where money doesn't have to be an issue for people, that we can all get back to being the creative beings that we are. And it excites me that I am going to get to see it and that my intuition was always right. I know we're not there yet, but god damn, we are so close. And especially the work that I do with women, we are even closer because I have so many women that walk away from even just having a conversation with me that much better because they're like, dude, you really shifted my whole identity and viewpoint of money, and now I don't stress about it, and now look, all this abundance is finding me, and wow, like all these random crazy wild things are happening for me in the terms of money just because I decided to think and be different with money, right? Okay. The next foundational piece for me moving forward is that nervous system regulation equals wealth. Okay. Because wealth expands only to the level of the body feeling safe holding it. Okay. So if your body does not feel safe with wealth, it is not going to happen for you. So, if universal income does become a thing and you don't feel comfortable with a billion, trillion, gazillion dollars or even fucking $10,000, you aren't going to receive it. There's going to be some weird cog in the system that is going to keep you from having it. Or, like, I don't know, other things are going to fall apart. I haven't quite yet thought that possibility through. Because the way that money works, it is energy. And just like love, right? Like if we looked at love as energy, if you don't feel safe being loved, you're never going to be loved. Because money is energy, if you do not feel safe with money, you're never gonna have money. Even if you got your little morphine drip of money happening, there's still gonna be something blocking you, right? Because there is love in the world for you to receive, but if you don't feel safe receiving it, you won't fucking receive it. Um, Creating the safety around money comes with creating safety around visibility, creating safety around desires and pleasurable things and all of that, right? Like it's so many levels to it. There's levels to this shit, and I'm teaching it again inside of Restfully Rich, but it's also a foundational piece of me as a mentor moving forward. Um, we're gonna be done with repattering like urgency and scarcity and control once we have a regulated nervous system. You're gonna get to learn how to pause without panicking, okay? And this is where money stops feeling on the edge, like, "Oh, I'm so close. It's almost there." And it starts feeling so normal, okay? That's the part 2 of this, and again, teaching it inside of Restfully Rich, how to actually achieve this. The third part of this is the intuition piece, because intuitive leadership, not on like, even if you're someone who's not necessarily in, like, a leadership role with, like, work or whatever, you are a leader in of yourself. You are a decision making maker of yourself. So having the intuition there and being able to have it work with you in a feminine way from your feminine essence, you're going to be able to trust your timing. You're going to follow your cues more easily. You're not going to second guess, is this intuition? Is this anxiety? You're going to stop making decisions without, or you're going to be able to make decisions without spiraling. And you're going to stop outsourcing your authority. You're going to stop having to look to people like me to go, what can I learn from them? You're going to stop having to fucking Google all these questions and chat GBT these questions because you're going to have the wherewithal within yourself that you don't really need to explain. You just know. And again, teaching this inside of Restfully Rich, the fourth part of all of this is how we can restfully receive, being a wealth embodiment, and how we integrate the two, right? Having a wealthy identity and learning how to restfully receive, when we can integrate the two, that is when embodiment actually happens. So it's not manifesting, it's not affirmations, it's not vision boards, it's not journaling prompts. It's true, actual implementation of becoming the wealthiest version of yourself. Not just sitting here thinking, closing your eyes and seeing in your mind's eye like what it looks like to be wealthy as fuck. No, it's living it in real life, like in the actual right now, right here, right now. And this part is about becoming the woman who expects support, okay, by Zaddy universe, okay, the divine source, God. Like you expect the support. You don't just sit there and think, God, I wonder if I'm going to be supported today by divine energy. No, you expect it. You receive without an apology, right? Like, I'm so sorry I'm rich as fuck. I'm so sorry that I'm so loved and adored. I'm so sorry that I get to rest while also living in overflow. You're going to let money meet you where you are because that's the fucking goal. We aren't doing this fucking mouse, what is it, cat and mouse game. We are letting money meet us where we are, unapologetically. And you're going to stop bracing for that fall after you've won. Wealth finally gets to feel stable in this space. It's not going to be this, oh my God, amazing, and then you crash out. Okay. I want to invite you, even if you're like, Alyssa, this sounds so great, but like it's not my bag. I want to invite you to start challenging your belief system and ask yourself, why can't you live restfully fucking rich? Why can't you be the first person in your lineage to receive wealth in ways that can't even be comprehended? Why can't you be a leader of your own fucking life and stop having to rely on outside sources to bring you what it is you desire? Women are not asked to do more, only being asked to notice, release, and receive. And that is what you can expect from me here on out, moving forward. Now that we are going further into 2026 and into our year one, okay? The outcome that you can expect from being in this space, specifically if you hop into Restfully Rich, is you're going to feel regulated instead of exhausted. You're going to feel confident without having to force anything. It's going to be very natural. You're going to be feeling and actually be wealthy without having to prove anything or trade anything for the wealth. The amount of self-leadership you're going to have will be felt deep as fuck. You're going to be making so much more money with so much less effort. And you're going to get to trust yourself again. When was the last time you got to just sit there and trust yourself? This is for the women who know that you don't need another strategy, but you need your body to believe that you're safe to have more. And that's where we're moving. That is where we're headed. That is what is on the threshold precipice of this next phase we are entering. So, apply for Restfully Rich. We start April 1st. It is a 4-month container. Prices will never be this low again. It is a intimate container. I will share so many details with you after you've applied. And let's get ready to make a fucking scene. I'll see you next time. Bye. I'm so grateful that you tuned in today. If this episode activated something in you, share it with a bestie who's also ready to become limitless. And don't forget to leave a review to help more people find this space. Wanting more? Get on my email list and subscribe to my YouTube channel for exclusive downloads, mindset shifts, and behind-the-scenes magic that I only share there. The link is in the show notes. Until next time, keep trusting the pull, honoring your energy, and manifesting your most abundant life.